Hi guys, I'm Raju. Welcome to this SAP online training. So in this we are learning about SAP-BW. So in this series of videos we are learning complete SAP-BW series on which we can focus on the different types of things. So let's see what's the BW exactly and how the BW is going on the different formats. Okay. So when you talk about here, the BW is nothing but business warehousing. So we also call it as business intelligence, or we also call it as BIW also, nothing but SAP BIW, which means business intelligent warehousing. So warehouse. So simply here, what is business? So if you talk about any business, a set of transaction which called as business, any set of transaction is called a business. And intelligent, nothing but if you want to do anything changes. So here intelligent, nothing but which makes the decisions. So making decisions, so makes the decision on a business, that's called intelligent. And warehousing, which collection of data. So this we call as complete SAP business warehousing. So let's we'll deal in depth of SAP BW. So when you talk about SAP BW, previously we call as BW, now we are naming as BIW or BI. So business intelligent warehousing or business intelligence. So it's kind of a reporting tool. It's behave like a ETL tool. It behave like a extraction things also. So here it was introduced in the year 1996 by SAP guys for reporting purpose. So mainly they use for the reporting purpose. The main intention of this SAP guys is we have the previous version called ABAP, business application programming language. Here if the customer needs some certain reports, we write some certain normal customized reports, but these reports cannot be customized as per the client requirement. That's why then if the client needs a proper information or you want to take a decision, in that case we'll got this option called business intelligence or reporting, which called is introduced in the year 1996. So it's complete reporting tool where the client will take a proper decision based on certain data, so which has a lot of information, like we call it historical data also. So why this BI was introduced? Suppose this is my company. For each and every company we have a different department like SD, MM, quality management, some production plant, PP, CRM, HR, some other things. Suppose he is my client. So client need to handle all these different types of department, which has SD department, material management, quality management, we have production plant, we have some other things like CRM, we look over FICO, stack over HR. Suppose if you purchasing a different software, if you go over here, all this running on all, if you talk about here, all are one category which we call as OLTP. All will behave like a OLTP system here. So all this has OLTP, online transaction process, in which we can get all these activities to be done here. So this OLTP will have a lot of information. So whenever you do any transaction from anywhere, if you are performing any activities on HR, all the record will store here. So here we use SAP ECC as a software front-end tool which behave like a OLTP, which has database concept. If you perform any activities from HR side, load here. If you do from SD, the record will store here. If you do from MM, similarly for quality management, production plant, CRM, all this will store on same place. So this is how the record transaction will take place on a systems. So whenever you perform any activities, all this will store in the same area. So in order to perform anything, like if you want to get the information or data, so all the current information, whenever any end user enters record at any level, those records will store here at this point of view. So this help you out to perform all those activities on the business set of scenarios. So if you want to do any activities on the sales or SD or MM, so those transactions will store in the corresponding field data over there. And similarly, if you want to get the information on these scenarios, in that case we'll go this all this activities will take place here. So all this at one place. So is how we can get all these things will be done to. Suppose my client says he needs a report. So now this SAP ECC holds the multiple data. My client needs the So this hold the multiple data. My client needs all this information ISIN. Now it has all the current data. My client says he needs the reports, or he needs some basic reports on the system. In that case, what we do, we depend on a separate warehousing concept called OLAP system. So we use a certain OLAP system in which we get a report that we call as SAP-BW, or we call as data warehousing concept. So we use some data warehouse where we can store all this data. So it is kind of a data warehousing concept. So here what we do is we bring the data from this corresponding field. We bring the data from this ECC to BW system, and based on this we store the data in the cube format. In the BW, the record always stores in the cube. So it will, the record will stores in the cube, or DSO, or INFORMATICA format. Anyways, as we'll see in the future cases. Okay, like this format. So once the record will holding on under this cube format, so this will use in the different scenarios. This is how the cube will generate, and we use this part for business scenarios. So the client asks how I can get my data information. So in that case, we use this cube format to get all information, and based on this we're going to generate the report on the PO environment on a certain basis. That's we call as business warehousing. That's we are doing the business warehousing. So how the different cases will be take place on system. Okay. So whenever we perform any activities, in that case we'll check all those things will be take place one place. So let's see how this will happen in the real-time environment if we talk about any business scenarios. So let's see how this will be take place on real systems. So here, once what you do, so it will just hold data here one by one. If you want to perform any activities, all the SD data, MM data, FICO data, all the records, the transaction will hold on the system will place at some place. So once you get those data information, and we pick up all the things and we store at this level. So this is how the things will be take place on a business scenarios. So this help you out to get all those things at one place. So if you want to get any information at any level, in that case we will check all those activities at one place. So let's see how this will be happen in the real time cases if you want to perform any activities on the systems. So we bring the data from the SAP ECC to BW environment at every regular interval of time period. So here what happened here, it will gives you the performance level of each and every things. If you want to get a report at any level, in that case we take this information. So let's see how this happen in the real-time environments in different scenarios. Suppose in this case, suppose now what happened here, if I want to get if my client says he need a reports on the sales, so what I do, I'll get all the data from the sales information. So I need to get the data from the sales. So all the sales table will be counted and stored in the BW format, in the InfoCube and DSO format. Based on this, the report will generate on the scenarios. So I'm going to create my report on any basics things. Okay. So once we got here, I can report. The report will generate based on this data here. So how the report will generate. Now let's see how we do the different things will be placed on systems. So let's talk about what is BW exact and how we can do those things in the BW environments. So let's discuss about the BW system here. So I have this my SAP-BW. So business intelligence set of transactions. So in this BW, what we learn. So it's kind of a reporting tool where we can get some other information or systems. Suppose here it has a lot of information, like it holds the business bulk of data. Why we have to use a business warehousing in a real-time finance? Suppose this is my database in which I can run my DB has OLTP system, online transaction process. I can use different softwares. It may be SQL Server, it may be Oracle database, it may be SAP ECC, has been discussed earlier. So whenever the end user enters a record, so this record will go to the export of their databases. It may be SAP or non-SAP. So what we do here is, he is the client. So client want to analyze his business. You need to need status. You want to analyze his business, or he can take some decision on a business. If client will create a report on this OLTP which has certain data, here on the current data, he can't analyze the business scenarios. That's why the company are maintaining a separate data warehousing concept called OLAP system. So he will become he will bring some other data warehousing concept called OLAP system, OLAP system. So here what happens, the records always constant here. We can store data permanently and we call it historical data. So usually what we do, we bring the data from a different environment and stores here. So we will get the data from here to here by using some ETL tool. That's an ETL tool. Based on this, the report gonna generate here. So if you talk about here, it's called Oracle SQL. It's a business warehousing, and we have certain information on the system here. So both of them the record. So here we are moving the record from the OLTP to OLAP at regular in time interval of time period. So we get the data from different databases, which we get the data into it. So the client will take a proper decision on our systems. So if he needs the reporting part where the client will take a proper decision, in that case we use this kind of scenarios. So once we got data here, we get information on this business scenario. So let's see how this will be take place systems. So here we will bring the data from a different regular interval of time period from this OLTP to OLAP at regular interval in a box format. It stores in the InfoCube, DS, all this format like this one. So the client will take a proper decision on a business scenarios. Now if I want to do any performance activities on these things, so how this extraction will take place? Whenever I do any, so when the end user enters record like certain customer details, those record will store in the table format. This is my table. Suppose this is my sales table which hold all the sales information. My clients need the report based on this data. Based on this data, and we need the report. So what I do is this is my OLTP. When I do transaction, the record will hold in the here. So it is called OLTP. We call SAP ECC, comes in the OLTP. SAP-BW comes in the OLAP system. Okay, these are two things we have here. So I need to convert this table as a data source format. The table will convert it as the data source format. Okay, data source. So I'll bring this table as a data source here. And this data source will be replicated at BW side with RF. So these are two servers. We need to create a connection from here, this server to this server. The connection name is called as RFC, remote function call. Remote function call. Here it is called as data source. Then the ultimate goal is I store the data into a InfoQ format here. Okay, so I'll get data into here from this to this. That's called IP. From here to here by using a DDP. So it's called data transfer process. This is called IP, and this is called transformation. This is called target system. In our case, it's InfoQ. But let me go. We'll discuss this part later. So once we bring this data from here to here, based on this, we will create a report. So the reporting we will do in the reporting here. This is the complete part of BW. The report we will do in the BEX queries. Okay, this is how we can perform all these activities. So in real-time environment, we will perform like this one. So we will just get it from the different scenarios. So based on this data, we create a report on the scenarios. So this is how the business take place with your systems. Okay, so let's see practically how this all are connected. Now, so we'll discuss one by one scenarios of BW, how practically we'll connect to the database systems, the different cases. Charging what to then. So let's go here. Now we'll discuss complete. So in this complete business scenarios here, we will discussing about different concept of BW. Where we can do the extraction topics, getting data from different databases, Then modeling, nothing but how to place the data in the reports, and nothing but reporting. So extraction, getting data from the different databases. Different DB. Modeling, this placing the data. So placing the data in different in the BW system. Reporting is generating report on the placed data. On placed data. So the three things we'll do. So complete BW comes in the three categories. So on this BW, we are learning a different concepts where we can get all these things to be done. I do have a different requirement in which I can get this information, like I do have a places, category, and all those things. So we do have SAP-BW, Business Intelligent Warehousing. So here, complete BW will work on the three things which we, so it will behave like a ETL tool, which is nothing but extraction, transforming, and loading. Nothing but extraction, transformation, loading. It will behave like a OLAP system to hold the bulk of data, to hold the historical data. It will behave like a reporting tool, okay, for reporting tool environments, creating reports. These are three things we will have in this BW. So BW is one place where we can do all the three things. So it will generate report, it will extract data, it will place the data in the data warehousing. So all three things will take place in the same manner. So let's talk about some other concept, like we do have I perform many activities on the system, like, so we'll discuss about the major theme called schema option. Okay, what is schema exactly? So let's we'll talk about the schema. So in BW we'll focusing on these three things: modeling, extraction, reporting, in which we can learn. First we start the modeling concept, then we'll move on the reporting or extraction, then we'll go with the reporting part in the last, and some other theory concept, so you get some idea. So in this series of videos we are learning complete modeling, extraction, and reporting part. So in the further cases, so this is class 1, so in which we are doing all this introduction of BODS, introduction of BW and other ETL concepts. So let's discuss the concept of star schema. So when we talk about schema, what is schema exactly? Schema is nothing but it just allocates some space in a memory. It just shows how the data plays in the system. It allocates some space in a memory. If you want to perform any activities, that will hold by the system. So star schema is one place where we can get the data, or we call it schema kind of thing. So schema shows how the data will place in SAP database. So schema, out of which star schema shows how the data will place in an internal system format. The star schema has fact table which is surrounded by one or more dimension tables, like this one. So here it is called dimension. This is my fact table. This is one more dimension. So the fact table always stores the transactional data, whereas dimension stores the master data. Like suppose in the fact table, what we have like cust ID, mat ID, some quantity, its units, some price, its currency. I need the customer information. So customer dimension data will store in the dimension table. Like cust ID is common field, like customer name, like customer age, like customer address. Okay, this will store in the dimensions. Similarly, if I need the material details, so it will be a separate dimension. So mat ID is a common ID for to mapping. We use a material group, type, size, like a color, something else. This is how we make this things in the material. So it's a star schema. So this star schema shows the data which is transactional and master data will store separately. What is the master and transactional data? We will see later on. So master data is one place where the data is constant, is called a master data, and the transactional data, whether it has keeps on changes, is called a transactional data. Because if you talk about quantity and price, these two things are going to changes every day, every cases, right? So in order to get those data, so this will take place systems.